everybody. Today, Rahdo runs down Lucky's Misadventures, which is a deck building game where 2 to 4 players are lost in Oddtopia and trying to find a way home. And the way it works is, every round, first, we must feed the toad, which means whoever is holding this card draws the top 3 cards from the Fate deck. And let's see, okay, so we've got the potion, the tower, ooh, there's a special effect, and the wand. Okay, so this effect is before playing cards, we can discard our entire hand and draw 4 new ones if we're looking for a specific card. That's in this round only. But also, as we're drawing the 3 Fate cards at the beginning of a round, we have to look for this symbol. Every time this symbol comes up, the Feed the Toad card moves clockwise to the next player. So it moved to Jen, but then in a 2-player game, it moved right back to me. So I'm going to hold on to this now. So basically, based on Fate, you never know for sure who is going to be the first player, which can be very, very important under certain circumstances. Okay, so we have done that. Now, each of us should have a starting hand of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards from our 11-card starting deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's Jen's starting hand. Here's my starting hand. And in secret, each of us is going to pick 3 of these cards, and simultaneously, once everybody's chosen, everybody reveals what they're playing all at once. And there's a few reasons for that. So, what do I got here? Well, I've got 2 of my starting 3 Tin Men. I've got my Winged Monkey, which is a special card. I've got my Lion, and I've got my 1 of my 3 Scarecrows. I didn't see Lucky, my plucky little dog who can get me out of a jam. So I'm going to play 3 of these cards. And there's a few things to bear in mind with them. One is some of them will actually provide money for me that I can use to buy new cards. Well, unfortunately, I've only got the 1 Scarecrow, so that is only $1 I'm going to have for buying cards to add to my deck. Although, you'll notice, the Scarecrow has a special power. If Fate had drawn a sword card, this would be better. It would be 1 + 1. It'd be $2. But as you can see, I got the wand and the cup. No sword this time. So this is only a $1 card. Probably not a good time to play it. Remember, I'm only going to play 3. The other 2 are going to stay in my hand, and I'll hold on to them in the future. So I probably don't want to play that because it's really not good for much. Just $1 instead of 2. So I got my 2 Tin Men, I've got my Winged Monkey, and I've got my Lion. I'm going to do 3 of them. Now, none of these give me any money. So this round, I am not going to be able to buy any of these cards because I just have no cash. You can see in the top right, it costs $2 to buy a Chrononaut, $4 to buy a Reactor Pump, $1 to buy a Clockmaker. Hey, if I wanted, I could put the Scarecrow into play to buy a Clockmaker, but I'm not going to bother with that. $7 to buy Steve Punk. So I'm not going to do any buying, but there's another element to these cards. In the top left of a lot of cards, there are Tinkerer and Wicked icons. And the reason we are all choosing in secret which cards to play is because we will compete for whoever has done the most tinkering and the most wicked deeds. Because whoever does the most tinkering gets for free, totally for free, 1 of these junk cards. And whoever has been the most wicked, for free, gets 1 of these, I forget what they're called, Maven cards, these allies. So, I can't buy any cards, but I could still win a couple of cards if I come out on top, but I can only choose 3 of them. Since I got my Winged Monkey, who is a double, I'm going to play 2 of these, and I'll just play 1 of the Tin Men. All right, so that's what I'm playing. While I'm thinking about all that, Jen is looking at her hand and wondering through about the same stuff. Ooh, now Jen saw 2 of her Scarecrows, and Lucky showed up. So she's got $3 to spend. But hey, the wand is out, so that's $4. And, oh wow. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, $5 to spend if she plays these. But the problem is, none of them have wickedness or tinkering. So if Jen doesn't engage in either of them, and I engage in both of them, I'll automatically win both competitions, which means I'll get 2 cards for free. But on the flip side, Jen's got $5 to spend, so she could do pretty well as well. Now, Lucky also has a special effect, which is you cannot be attacked by another player. There are a ton of take that cards in this game, and if you have Lucky, you can be safe that round if you think somebody's coming for you. So, is Jen going to play these, just have a lot of money, and potentially, give everything, give the tinkering and the wickedness competitions over to me, or does she leave Lucky aside? Leave him out. She still has $4. That's pretty good. And she could throw in her lion or her tin man to compete. And now they won't do anything else other than compete for wickedness or tinkering because they have no special powers. I think Jen will leave Lucky aside, and she will try to compete on the Tin Man. So these are the three she's choosing. She's only giving herself 4 instead of $5, but she is trying to compete. So everybody's chosen. Everybody reveals at the same time. Boom. Okay. And now, in turn order, first, if you've got money, you can spend it to buy up to 2 of any of these cards. And as soon as you buy one, a new one comes out to replace it. And you're always supposed to keep them in value from left to right, ascending value. So I have no money, so I'm not going to buy anything, even though I'm first. Jen has 1, 2, 3, $4, so she's going to buy up to 2 cards. Or one really expensive one, like this Phantom, that gives her 3 wickedness. She'll probably always be able to get more Mavens for free if the Phantom's on her side. Plus, the Phantom has a special power. Discard this card to force an opponent to discard one of their cards, and I get to choose which one. So if this was a turn where they play a card that was going to be huge for them, I can discard my Phantom and make them get rid of their thing. But that means I'm also getting rid of my wickedness. But who knows? Maybe I'll be bothered about that. Maybe not. Also, this card is worth 2 victory points if it's in my deck at the end of the game. Now also, the Phantom's special ability will only work if the Fates allow it, if a sword comes out. So I could get him, or I could buy a Chrononaut and Despair. That's 1 wickedness and 2. Let's go ahead and buy both of those. But actually, no, wait a minute. I need to think about this. I can see right off the bat, or Jen can see, that I have 1 wickedness, because I've got 3 wickedness and she doesn't have any. All right, well, okay, then that means it doesn't matter, because the level by which you beat them, your opponent, is a huge big deal. If you tie, everybody gets a card for free. If you beat them only by 1, which is interesting. In fact, actually, both of us, we both tied on Tin Man, so we're both going to get a gadget for free. But say I hadn't played a Tin Man, I played something else. If Jen beat me by 1, that means she barely beat me on the total tinkering challenge, which means she can take 1 of the junk cards up to a value of 5. But if she beats me by 2 or more, it's a blowout, and then he can take anything. So the interesting thing is, Jen can see that I beat her wildly on wickedness, so I can take any card I want. So that's something that Jen could think about. If she wanted to get an expensive one, or she might not want to if she thought I only barely beat her, in which case I'd get some cheap stuff, Jen's going to go on ahead and pay all $4 to buy Despair and a Chronobot. This one lets her get junk cards for free in the future, and it helps her with tinkering. Despair is one of the 3 sisters. It's Despair, Greed, and Vanity. And the sisters are one of several ways you can win this game. If at any given time in my deck I've got Despair, Vanity, and Greed, the 3 sisters, the 3 wicked sisters, and I get them all into play on the same turn, I instantly win the game, which is a big deal. So I could be going for Despair as a long-term plan to win that. Also, while I've got her, she increases my wickedness, and on a round where there are cups, she return one of your other in-play cards to the top to draw. But I can't return a machine card. So you can see how if she's out, if Despair is out, I could discard something to try go looking for her sisters, because I'm trying to get all 3 of them into play. So anyway, I'm going to put both of those into Jen's discard pile. She spent her $4. She's gotten those. 2 new cards come out. Let's see, and it's Mr. Bones, and it's Alice. Okay, cool. We're done buying. I didn't have any money. Jen has spent all her money to buy 2 cards. Now, there were other things we could do as well. If we had junk cards in our hand, you can see they don't generate money. But if you have 2 junk cards that you put into play, they don't do any tinkering, they don't do any wickedness, they don't give you any money, but you can trash junk cards that you've played to build all kinds of cool machines, which are worth victory points and give you cool special powers. So anyway, let's continue on. Right. And the other thing you can do is actually escape by one of 3 ways. Get the 3 sisters into play, or find Pumpkin Ted and do some stuff he wants you to do to trigger the win, or play a time machine and a reactor pump to just go back in time before you ever got trapped here in the first place. These are the 3 ways to instantly win. Now, if we go all the way through the game and by the end nobody has completed any of these after we played through all the rounds we're supposed to play, then none of these happened. Nobody escaped, went back home, and instead we win based on the victory points we put into our deck. So, anywho, we now go on to the challenges. First, we do our Tinker Challenge. I've got one, Jen's got one. We both win, and we both take the cheapest one available, starting with me, because I've got the Feed the Toad, which means I get the slightly worse one. I get a Clockwork Gizmo, which is worth 1 victory point, and a Clockwork Gizmo plus other stuff could give me a creepy doll bot, or a tiny tin, or a fate clock. Fate clock is one of the core things I need to get Pumpkin Ted to help me escape. All right, anyway, so that goes into my discard pile. A new thing comes out, and it's another... Oh, and so Jen now, she ends up getting a Clockwork Gizmo as well. That was the Tinkerer challenge. Now we move on to the Wicked challenge. I totally blew the doors off this. Jen has none. I've got 3, so that means I can take any of these Mavens. I'll go on ahead and get Steve Punk, who normally would cost $7. He's a tinkerer, that's really great. But on a turn where there are cups in the fates, and he's worth 5 points, he basically lets me get a junk card out of my draw pile, which can mean I can more readily get the right junk into my hand at the right time to build something big, like a mech dragon, or a dark energy machine, or a time machine. Another one of the ways to win the game. So anyway, so I just got him. A new thing comes out. It's a Fate Beast all the way over here. And that was it. Now, the 3 cards we played, they go into our discard pile along with all the cards we got. We refill our hands. So here's what I still had. I had a Tin Man and a Scarecrow, and there's my other Scarecrow, and Lucky and Lion. Jen also draws 3 more cards. 1, 2, 3. So she's ready to go, and we start the next round, which means these fates are gone. Nobody took advantage of the tower, which meant if we didn't like our hand, we could have redrawn, because we both had decent hands. And now, it is time, once again, to feed the toad! Feed the toad! 3 new fate cards come out. It's the sword, which means certain cards are now active. It's the cups, and it's the sword. Okay, and in my hand, I have... My Scarecrow is worth $2 because the swords came out. My Tin Man is worth 1 Tinker. My other Scarecrow is only worth 1 because we didn't get any wands. Lucky is worth 1. And I've got 1 for my Lion. Now, of course, these are just my starter cards. As you might imagine, the longer you go, your deck gets full of really cool, interesting things. Because these Mavens, well, not only are they gorgeous art. I mean, I just love the kind of dark gothic, kind of almost classic Disney look to all the art in this game. Absolutely stunning. I mean, you know, look at Mr. Bones here. This is a creepy but very cool looking guy. And Alice is, you know, a little goth herself. I mean, so these cards look great. They've got a ton of variety, and with 3 completely different ways that the game could end. You really have to pay attention to what opponents are doing. That's why there are so many attack cards. If somebody is Pumpkin Ted and they have built, oh, I forget which thing it is you have to build for Pumpkin Ted, the Fate Clock, I think. You know, players realize that player's very close to winning. Everybody needs to attack them and prevent them from drawing their Pumpkin Ted or force them to discard their Pumpkin Ted and stuff like that. Which is a real shame, because I gotta say, folks, there is so much good in this box. I love the setting, I love the world, and more than anything else, I love this new fresh take on deck building where we choose 3 from our hand and we simultaneously reveal, because these cards have so many multiple uses, and often you'll have to make tough choices. I might play a card with a really cool power, like say my Fate Beast. Play another card. But he doesn't do me any good. If I play him right now for the $2 he'd give me to buy, I won't get to use his special power because the Fates didn't allow it. So do I just keep it in my hand for a later turn and play something else that maybe won't give me the $2 I need? Every round is full of interesting choices about how you manage your hand. You have so much more control in this deck builder over your deck than you do most of the time in most of these Dominion-inspired games, and I love that. I love the setting. I love the wicked sense of humor. I love the multiple endings. I love the surprises this thing just throws at you nonstop. But I hate all the take that cards. It's a real heartbreaker for us, because otherwise, this is probably one of the cleverest deck builders, pure deck builders I've played in quite a long time. And that's the rundown, folks, on Lucky's Misadventure. I want to say thanks very much for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.